So I just want to say a few things about perception. So the first things that I want to talk about is while I understand that there is an average human eyesight and like hearing level and all of these things, individually, humans' eyesights are on a scale, right? So like I see better than my daughter who wears glasses, right? That makes sense. Hearing, same thing. Some people have better hearing than other people, all the way down to some people have a higher sense of feeling with like skin and things like that. So, not just do our experiences come from experiencing the world differently from different perspectives and different experiences that we've had, but also the way that we feel these things and perceive these things are different in a way our minds don't always think about. So, like, while you're aware there are humans that are colorblind, right? You don't think about it when you're talking to the average person about the possibility of them being colorblind when you ask them to go grab you something and describe it with color. Um, Things like this. If if it's a average day, temperature is a decent temperature, most people would be very satisfied, tell you it's a very amazing day outside. There are some human beings that that day might still be hot or cold for because of the way their body perceives temperature. So now you have all of these different scales that we can perceive things different on. So this can go all the way to like hyper focus versus wide view, right? If somebody hyper focuses in on the little details of things, they're going to have a different experience than somebody who takes in the bigger picture of things. The person that takes in the bigger picture is going to have a more generalization of what's going on in that big picture than the person who focused on the little details. However, the person who focused on all of the little details is going to be able to say all of these little nuances of things that the person that took the big generalized picture isn't going to be able to see. So, perception is not just about how we perceive things as far as what's real and what's not real. We also have a different scale at which we are all perceiving things. Colorblind is not just a one scale thing. People can have different colorblind issues. I knew a lady who was, hello, hi, how are you doing? Why nobody haven't text back? Only me. Oh, because I'm not a popular person. This is really just because this is the kind of things that my brain thinks of, and I can't type all of these things. And this is just an easier thing. Um, did you just start streaming? Yeah, I did just start streaming. Um, so again, perception is not just about the reality of what we're seeing versus what's happening, but we all have different ways of viewing things. Um, I know it used to be a big struggle when I would try to describe things for my daughter. I'm like, can you go grab that thing over there? And now talking with her, she's older, she would tell me now why her brain wasn't able to see the things that I was describing to her because of the way that her brain sees and perceives things. So, not just are we all experiencing different things because we have different lives. So, if you grew up rich versus you grew up poor, you have a different experience of life. Same as if you grew up in one country versus a different country, you are going to have different experiences. You're also going to have different common sense, right? So I live in Florida. I have zero common sense about mountains, about snow, because it's not something that I experience in my life, right? The same as somebody who experiences mountain life and whatnot probably doesn't know how to like surf and stuff like that because they're not accessing ocean throughout their life to be able to gain the knowledge to surf. And now those are skills and things that our brain kind of really does think about. But this also goes all the way down to like how you're walking and navigating in the world, the fruits and things that you come in contact with. Like, there's people that are going to have experienced fruits every day in their life, that there's their common fruits, their school teaches them all about those fruits, and because they're on a different side of the country or a different part of the world, uh, th- they don't have the same growing up experiences with the same fruits as I did. I grew up with oranges, bananas, and things like that, but that's not everybody's general experience with fruit. However, when you're thinking about fruit, you expect everybody's general knowledge to be what you experience, because we all know about fruit growing up. We'll all go, yeah, we grew up learning about fruit, but we don't caveat what those fruits were. And now I know I'm talking generalizations and like really just simple generalizations, but that's kind of how our mind understands a lot of the more complex things, is first making the simple connection and then understanding it from there, from the scale or the metaphor or however. So yes, some of these generalizations can be a little weird, but it's just whatever my brain. Hi. Hi. There's more people. I'm not a big fan of doing these. Anyway, so now we're all understanding that we have different senses that we're having these experiences, and you're living in different environments and things that are giving us different perception, right? And then there's another caveat, right? So, depending on whether you're in survival mode or observational mode, like or like able to enjoy life, your brain is operating extremely differently. People that are in survival mode most of the time seem more self-centered, but it's not that they're self-centered, it's that their survival has been, they have to take care of themselves because they don't experience like somebody who gets that more observant kind of experience in the world where they get to observe things. They get a more relaxed life to be able to observe. A person who is fighting every day for food, for shelter, for clothing, for these basic things, their mind is not going to be capable of sitting down and observing those bigger details that somebody that sits with observation is able to do, because where are you going to observe things when half of your day is spent trying to meet your basic needs? How do you think about other human beings' needs, their thoughts, their feelings, when you're just trying to cover your basic needs, right? And uh then you have like echo chamber world. So while people were growing up, we're all trying to be decent human beings. We're all trying to navigate and understand the world, right? And when we have echo chambers, when we were questioning, like, oh, was this right? Am I in the wrong? And like our brain is finally starting to process, maybe I didn't do right here. If we have echo chambers, they were like, oh yeah, no, you did right. You're right. You're right. Reprogramming our brain that those things were right. Right. So then there's, oh, I liked that. That was good. The echo chamber thing just lost a bunch of people. By the way, that also shows triggers on things. So when you stop watching things, when you react to the things, our brains will tell on ourselves. Human beings have a need to make their inner world known. And if you don't believe me, think about every time somebody's annoying you or doing something like that, and you'll, why do you sigh? Why do you do it audible enough for them to hear? Because the subconscious part of your mind is like, I want out of this. Maybe they'll hear this and they'll be a decent person and they'll stop. Same thing as serial killers and rapists and all of these things. They collect trophies, things like this. Our brains have a programming to them. If you're talking to somebody and they don't have an awareness of something about themselves that you have an awareness of, you can say something to them to trigger them to say it out loud, something they have no awareness of. And then they will proceed to defend what they just said out loud with no awareness that they were just answering what you provoked from their subconscious. And the thing about it is we're all adjustable. I was a reactive human being. I literally just barely in this shifting thing right now. So it's not them people versus those people. We're all like, how many people know of like an RPG playing game, like how you can get different stats and things like that? Practice, repetition, all of these things help you build up your RPG stats on different things. Um, and now I know these things sound kind of crazy, but here's where I come up with these kind of things. So there was a guy that was TNT dynamiting a hole in a mountain to make a trail rain go through there, and a rod went through his freaking head, right through his eye, and went through his head, right? That guy did not die, okay? Guy still lived for quite a while after. Now, he wasn't quite the same either, but he still lived. Now, there's a whole bunch of different cases of this kind of stuff where the brain doesn't work exactly how we had thought it did when we were telling people how reality works and shaping society's belief. We did not know these things. It was people having experiences and crazy situations happen. There was a guy who he there was a break-in at his house. They shot the girlfriend and they shot him. He had gotten shot in the eye and went in his eye, and it looked to the cops like defensive wounds, but the dude had a bullet in his freaking brain the whole time that he was being detained, right? And the all of these different things show us different stuff. And now I know these things are a little less interesting to most people, but when you start to connect all these different things, then it becomes show. I know that people telling us random information seems like it's random, but if a person is telling you something, their brain is connecting to neurons and they're trying to get you to understand something from a precursor information in their brain that they know that you don't know. So then they're trying to explain something to give you information. But from the other side, when somebody says something that seems left field, your brain's like, what? You were explaining this. How are we over here now? Because from the other side, you can't see inside their head and how these things connect and how they have to give you this information for you to understand what they were trying to explain in this thing that you were having a conversation on. Sorry, I was just catching up on the comments for a second. I lost my train of thought. Back to I have like a jumpy mind, so that's one of the reasons that it's really hard to follow me. Um, my videos when I do the shorts are a lot easier to follow because I try to constrain my brain into one little topic. And when I'm on this kind of stuff, my brain is trying to multitask multiple things, and I'm already coming off of my longest work day of the week. So yeah, my brain is a little more frazzled. I'm not. It is what it is. Okay. Anyway, perception. Perception is not exactly what we think it is. We have multiple different caveats to perception, but everybody's experience is real, right? They're experiencing it. So, no matter what somebody's saying, even if it seems very impossible or insane to us, there's some truth and something that they're seeing of reality that we're not picking up on, right? So it's just like you could be great in the temperature and somebody next to you tell you it's freezing in there. It might seem insane, but they may have a skill or ability or sensory issue or difference from you that gives them the ability to perceive things differently, right? I think that a lot of people, when I'm saying something that fits their bias, they're like, yeah, go girl. And then when I start to round it out to the whole, we're all a fractal of each other, we all need to be kind. Here's why these things. That's where people tune out, because there's that unconscious, if I hear this, where your unconscious knows, if I hear this, I can't continue to think and feel the way that I do. And so your mind has to check out to allow you to continue with the thoughts or emotion that you're having until you're ready to process it. However, information can be given to somebody when they're not ready to process it, and it's sort of in the back of their head. So it's reality is not exactly what people think it is. I'm going to sound like a crazy person, but if you don't look linearly at everything and you kind of connect the dominoes slowly, things that people say that sound extremely insane actually make logical sense, right? When you break it down to the simplest thing. We live in a very complex world. And so, a lot of the times when people pick up on the simple things, if they don't word it correctly, they just sound completely out of pocket. And the thing about, I looked up and seen how many viewers. I got to stop doing that. It fucks with my brain and throws me completely off track. Hi, people. Hi, I'm crazy. Just so you know, my thoughts are going to be all over the place. I'm talking about perception and how the way that we perceive the world has many caveats. So we don't all feel, see, hear everything about the way that we sense the world is slightly different. Um, then there's the experience different. Where you are, common sense for different places is going to be different because you have different environments, different things that you're interacting with, right? A country person is not going to have the exact same common sense as somebody that grew up in the city, because their common sense was formed by what they were interacting with in their environments. So the fact that they interact with different things means that their common sense is going to be different. I don't know shit about mountains or snow. I live in Florida, have my whole life. That doesn't make me stupid. It means that I've never lived in an environment that has taught me that knowledge. Now, somebody that grew up in snow and comes and moves down to Florida is going to have that knowledge. They could be in Florida and not have the same experience as me because their childhood experience gave them knowledge I don't have. This is happening. Everybody's experience is happening. People really are experiencing what they're experiencing. Now, the difference is when I was reacting in an emotional state, it would come from where I thought about the thing. I thought this, but I didn't mean, I just, those kind of things, right? However, when you're switching to response, I started to notice I would be triggered in a conversation and be emotionally battling myself, and the other person is just kind of there. I think they're battling with me, but I'm battling with myself. So there's that perception thing that's happening there. So you got the caveats of having senses different with all of us. You have a caveat of us experiencing different things in our worlds, right? Then you have what mode of experience you're in, whether you're just reactive or you're responsive. So there's all these different caveats of perception that are happening individually. Then everybody is always interacting with each other. Whether you're talking to people, you're still fucking seeing things happen in the world, unless you're just sitting in your room. And then you're probably seeing the people through a screen. You're still observing things, right? Now, our observation can be skewed by our bias if we have not processed our emotions from our previous experiences in life. When you experience something in life and you refuse to process it, what happens is the next time any situation is similar enough for your brain, it goes back into that mode, that first thing that happened. And then you're not reacting to the second scene. You're emotionally reacting to the first one because you didn't process it. Now, this is where people that are in observation mode, that are perceiving things from a distance, are going, these people are crazy. They're not perceiving reality from anything more than their emotions. And that is correct. But their emotions are still seeing something. Okay. And that's where you have to trigger and listen. It's the same thing as I made a video talking about if somebody says the same thing 3 times, 3 different ways, that's their like they're asking for something. It's a read between the lines kind of thing. Even when people are emotionally reacting and seeing things, you have to read between the lines of where they're stuck at to help them process, because we're all connected to the same fractal. And no matter how much individual strength we do and work that we do on ourselves, your world, whole thing that you live in, right, is going to continue to be affected by the whole. So if you want to have a better world, you cannot just focus on yourself in a system. You have to fix the system. How do you fix the system if the system is people? You have to figure out where they're at and meet them there. I know it's just so fucking horrible to hear that we experience things. And if you're at the point of your life of being in observation mode, and you probably have healed a lot of your stuff. And if you haven't, then you need to heal, because everybody has to heal to get the world that we all want, right? It makes sense if you just think about it. You have to forgive others because we all were doing the best that we could at the moment of doing the fucking shit. Yes, every person that did some fuck shit somewhere at some point in time, it sits on their fucking conscious. I don't care how much they hide it from the world. Every human is a fucking human. Okay. And they all have that sad, oh my God, what did I do in life? That's a thing. We all do it. We all have it. Right. So that pain that you want them to feel, they feel by being human. You don't get the satisfaction of seeing that part of them. Okay. Now, here's the caveats to these things. If you can't forgive others for the harm that they did you, you're not going to be forgiven for what you did to others that you don't see as harming them. Because again, we're all dealing with perception here. So from your perception, you were the good guy, they were the bad guy. However, from their perception, it's switched and we're all correct. So until we can comprehend all of these simple things, we're going to continue to have this. If you want to be negative and have a negative world, you're going to continue to experience that. You can't depress yourself out of depression. And that's essentially what people are trying to do when you're holding on to rage, jealousy, envy, revenge, any of these things. You're literally trying to like be happy with depression. Like, does it make sense? You live in a system. If you want negativity for anybody in that system, it will trickle back to you. Because see, they're going to be negative to that person. That's going to make the other person have a shitty day. Then they're going to be shitty to other people. And eventually that shit machine rotates back to everybody. Hi, that's the current state we're living in right now. And if you want it to stop, we have to clean the shit up off ourselves and stop shitting on everybody. No, nobody wants to bite. Nobody likes that. Takes work. I know. Humans are just fucking scared of work. By the way, your brain is programmed to like doing work. You are healthier doing work. Your brain is healthier when we work. Now, it happens to work best if you actually enjoy the work that you do, which is why we should stop controlling people so that people can actually do what they're meant to do in the world. Because, like everything else in this world that's a cohesive flowing thing, if we actually just let humans do what they desire to do, we would actually work out in a fucking flowing system without all the stupid problems that we have. The problems that we have is that we all think everybody else but ourselves are so incompetent that they need to be controlled. Their thinking is so bad. It's all a design. Even the fucking whales, when they die, make sure that they die so that the animals can eat their carcasses and continue the circle of life. Why would you think that humans doing what they want to do is actually going to be so fearful and so harmful? Most people want to help others because, again, if you actually understood how the brain worked, you would know we all have a need to be needed. That's why when people don't work and then you're constantly having everybody tell you that you're a piece of shit and all of this, your life gets more depressing and everything. Because not just are you not meeting any needs, you're being told that you're a shit bag and all of these things. And then you get convinced that you're not capable of doing these things. So then you don't make the action to do these things. Then you stay in this cycle. But I can't do this anymore. I keep trying to explain things and my brain is fried from tonight, and I spent 30 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this. Um, yes, it jumps all over the place. I'm not restating all of the things I said, and if you watch the whole video, I probably restated the things several times because every time I start to restate these things, watching and then they stop watching and then they start watching and then they stop watching and then they start watching. So it has made my brain all frazzled and flustered. So I keep talking logical shit when there's nobody there. And then I look up and then there's people there and it makes my train of thought fucking run out the window. And it's really fucking annoying. Why the fuck is there always nobody there when I can be logical? And as soon as there's people there, my brain's like, fucking people viewing me. No. While I'm the one that clicked the live button. Yeah. Logical and sane. I am well aware. I at least have self awareness. So that's a plus. Have a nice day, guys. Bitch, shut up. Thank you.